Hey guys, what up? Team Antirogeki Alpha, and today I'm going to bring you my updated Fabled deck profile. Just a couple of things first to get out of the way. I'm currently working on my Agent Fairy deck, my take on Formula Monarchs, and also on my Double Plant build. So you're not just going to be seeing Fabled over and over again. Obviously I'm going to keep you updated with how I play Fabled, because I think this is a really good deck, but there will be more stuff to come in the future. So, but yeah, anyway, the changes I've made to this deck, I think they're really good changes. They've made the deck far more consistent, which is what I believe this deck needs to be if it's going to be successful. Yeah, I'm just really happy with how it's working, so I'll show you guys the deck. I run 3 Chawa, combo starter, staple, 3 Cerebral, again staple, you need the 2-star tuner, 3 Ganashia, you need the 3-star non-tuner, and it can work as a beat stick, and your 3 Grimo to search out whatever levels you need. Sorry, my voice going. Yeah, so that's that's all staple Fable in my opinion. If you do have any questions about any of my choices, just drop me a comment and I'll get back to you. I still only run 2 Cross. I still don't like this card at 3 because I think it clogs your hand up a little bit. It forces you to drop stuff to the grave early game that you might not want to, so I think 2 is fine. 1 Larry. I know I said ideally in my previous video that I'd like to run 2, but I've changed my mind on that. I think 1 is optimal, and I'll explain mine in a minute. And my newest Fabled monster, Fabled Kashano. I'm really happy with this guy, just for the fact that 3-star tuner gives me a lot more options. I can go into Bryanak far easier, which Bryanak just wins games. I can just go. This just opens a whole new load of possibilities for me. And also, once I drop this to the grave by synchroing or discarding or whatever, it's just there as a backup, so I can just use it from my grave just to get a discard if I need to. Like, I've got this in my grave and I top deck a Ganashia. That's just an instant Bryanak straight there. So really good card. In terms of numbers, I think it's a bit stupid to run any more than 1 really. Like if you have open with multiples or whatever, then that's pretty much just dead really. And you can search it out so easily as well with Grimro and Sangan and whatnot. So I think 1 of that is fine. So yeah, that's my Fable monsters. Other monsters I run. Sorry, over here. Triple Snipe Hunter. This card is amazing in this deck. It starts off OTKs, it wins games. Not much more I can say about that. I run Triple Reborn Tengu, this card is just broken as hell. Like honestly, Synchro Spam with this guy. He's a great opening play as well. Turn 1 lets you get your back row set and can protect you while your opponent does their plays. 1 Morphing Jar because it's a Fabled staple that's just too good not to run. And I don't know, in my previous build, Morphing Jar was amazing, and now since then he's become even more amazing. Like genuinely, this card is so broken in this deck. You need to run it. I run 1 Sangan because it searches out Snipe, which is really key if you don't have much to get your discards off. And it can search all my Fabled monsters apart from Grimro and Ganashia, so good card is good. And my 2 new monsters as well, Double Tricky. I used to run this in my old build, and I took them out, and now I'm trying to realise why I took them out. This card is really good. The 5-star non-tuner opens so many possibilities for me, and this card combos so well with Cerebral as well, honestly. If you open with a Tricky and a Cerebral, that's an instant 7 start. So if your opponent opens strong, like have Gateway, they have like loads of back rows, double Shien or whatnot, you can just drop a 2-card combo with Tricky and Cerebral into a black rose, blow up the field, and you've still got your normal summon and 4 cards in your hand. So obviously this card in Cerebral goes straight into Wyvern for Wyvern OTK, and it's just really, it's pretty much never dead, like, because to special summon it you can discard any card, so it doesn't have to be a Fable monster, it doesn't even have to be a monster. You can drop your dead Avarices, your dead whatever you've got in your hand to get this guy out on the field. He can work as a beat stick, and the 5-star non-tuner is really good because it just opens up possibilities to Chawa. You can get into level 8 with Kashano, you can get into any level 7 with Cerebral, so just a really good card. In terms of numbers, I think 1 you don't get it enough really, and it's a good card, so you need to be able to get to it. And I think 3 you don't really want 2 in your hand at the same time, so I think 2's been testing really well of this guy. So these are my monsters. I'm really happy with how they're working so far. Just one thing quickly, I've taken out the Dandelion. I still really think Dandelion is a very good discard outlet, but In terms of consistency, I found too many times for my liking that I would have a Dandelion and like a Chawa or something where you need to discard a Fabled specific monster, so I don't know, I still think it's really good, but I just don't think it's consistent enough to be ran anymore, so that's that. Yeah, we get onto the spells now. Once Reborn, obvious. Book of Moon, obvious. Giant Trinade, obvious. Hope I don't have to explain that. 2 Dark World Lightnings. I still really like this card main over MST, just for the fact that it can take down any face down card. So your opponent's back row, and like this can take out set monsters as well. So if you know your opponent's playing Doppel Plants or Chaos Plants or Light Sworn or whatever, if they set their Raikou, you can pop it straight away. You don't have to worry about the flip effect. You don't have to worry about any face downs with this card, and it gets you an extra discard off. So obviously I'm siding MSTs. I'm still working on the side deck, so sorry guys, I can't bring you that in a moment, but yeah, I'm still debating whether I should run MSTs and Dust Tornadoes on my side, but MSTs, obviously you have to side them because you can come against Gravekeepers with Necro Valley, Dragoonities with their field card spell as well. The other thing that's a little bit annoying with this is Oppression kills this deck, it really does. But in game 1, to be honest, not all decks run Oppression. In fact, the majority of Synchro Spam decks won't run Oppression at the moment. And since this deck can go off, and normally does go off very early, even if they do run Oppression, the chances of them getting it off game 1 are fairly low. But having said that, if they do get it off, then the only card I can really get rid of it with is Snipe Hunter, which it's not unlikely that I'll get Snipe, but I mean, if they open with Oppression, then I'm kind of screwed, so that is the one drawback of running these instead of MSTs, but I still think these are worth maining. 1 for 1, really good card, it's a little tech of mine, just gets me a discard off and gets me a Chawa or a Larry, whichever one I need. Card Destruction, it's a Fabled staple. I run 3 Pot of Avarice now, and the reason for this is because I don't want Beckoning Light, and I think with this deck, well, my build and the way I play, you really need to have the triple Avarice if you're not running Beckoning Light, just because you fill the grave so quickly. And the new spell card I run, Foolish Burial. Now you're probably thinking, what, Foolish Burial? You're not running Dandelion, but it's because of this guy. This is just a one card way. It is a minus, yeah, I know that, but if I can get this guy in my grave, that just adds a whole new dimension to what I can OTK with it. It allows me an extra discard, it gets me a 3-star tune into my hand, and it's also a lifeline really. If I just drop this early game and then my opponent makes me go into late game and I'm top decking, it just makes a hell of a lot of stuff top decking not dead, if that makes sense. And also, if I do open with a Kashano and a Foolish Burial, which is quite unlikely because I'm running one of each, but even if I do, I can just drop any Fable to my grave and then search out Crust with Grimrow or whatnot, and then I can just drop Crust and get the card that I need back. So I think Foolish Burial is quite a good option for this deck. And my traps, I run Triple Decree now, and this is why I can't run Beckoning Light, obviously, and it's a little bit sad to see Beckoning Light go, because I think it's a really, really good card in Fabled. But the Triple Decree, I was always going to be running 3 traps in this deck, so it just made sense to swap to the Triple Decree, especially because back row is the main problem for this deck. Like, if Frog Monarchs and whatnot, I can normally run over them unless they have a Fader or whatnot in hand. So if my opponent has a strong back row, they're solemning my special Synchro Summon, sorry. They're bottomlessing my Ganashias and just generally screwing around, then I'm kind of screwed against that. But Decree just shuts down so many decks straight away. It's just a really, really good card in this deck. And considering the draw power you can get off Ragin and Hyper Librarian when that comes out, and Formula Synchron, you can get these out fairly regularly. So I just think this is a really, really good card. And obviously if you're running 3 traps, there is no problem with running Triple Decree. I know people say, oh, you should be running Solemns and that, but Solemns shut down my Wyvern OTK, and I just think I'm really happy with how this is working. I'll quickly go through the extra deck, because I don't want this video to be as long as the last one. Where should I do it? I'll do it up here. 1 Formula Synchron. This is why I'm happy with running 1 Larry, really. Like, if I run a second one, I'd have to run a second Formula Synchron, which obviously Formula Synchron is a great card, but obviously I'm not running Dandelion either now, so I can get away with running 1. But yeah, I'm happy with that. One Fabled Unicorn, great card. 2 Fabled Ragin. This card is still amazing. This card helps the deck so much. It gives it speed, it gives it consistency, helps me draw 2 to carry on with my comboing. Amazing, amazing card. And I think this card is a better 5-star synchro than Librarian in this deck. So, Catasta, don't normally go into this, but it's good to have as an option. That's coming out for Librarian when it's released. Bryanak, this card wins me games and games and games. It is so good in this deck. And now that I'm running Tricky and Kashano, I can get into this guy way more easily. This card is genuinely unlimited discards. I can get as many discards off as I need. Because if I have, like, I don't know, say I have a Foolish Burial in my hand, and I've bounced back all my opponent's cards, I can just set Foolish Burial, discard a card, bounce this, set it again, discard a card, bounce this, and it is really just unlimited discards. It gets me exactly the combos I need, so it's a great card. Gaia Knight, another 6-star. I run this because it's a more solid option to go into than Bryanak if I don't need any more discards, or if the field is already clear. So, and my new card in the extra deck, Tempest Magician. I can now run this because I'm running Tricky, which is a spellcaster, and this card is, again, it's unlimited discards, and instead of bouncing stuff like Bryanak, it burns my opponent, so it's another card that just wins games, really. Wyvern, this card is ridiculously broken. It's my OTK card of the deck. This card gets me OTKs, FTKs, everything. It's ridiculous. Definitely look it up. Black Rose, staple. Scrap Archfiend, because if I take early damage and Wyvern OTKs out of the picture, I'd much rather go into a Beat Stick than into a Black Rose. I'm still having to run Stardust as my 8-star. This is going to be coming out for Red Dragon Archfiend when it actually gets here. My 2 9-stars, Trishula and Mistworm. Trishula is my favourite card in the game right now. It's so good. But having said that, late game, if I need to go for OTKs and my opponent has more than one card on the field, Mistworm is better just because it clears the field for me to attack for game. And finally, Fabled Leviathan, because I can sync once I've used Trishula or Mistworm, I can just use a Chawa to go into it, or I can just go into it anyway because it's a 10-star. So yeah, sorry this video has dragged on a little bit, guys, but this is my new Fabled deck profile. I'm really happy with how this has been testing. If you have any questions or any feedback on the deck, that would be really helpful. And thanks for watching. Cheers.